To the show. Today is July 27th, 2022, and we'll be talking about Metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares. So, not much has changed recently, but there are some things that, we should be aware of. So I haven't made a video in a while because, not much has changed. But if you haven't seen or you're not aware of the NextBridge Hydrocarbons S1 filing that was done by Metamaterials with regard to the Metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares, MMTLP, check out my last two videos. The first video, which is MMTLP NextBridge Hydrocarbons S1 file, that's the very first video that goes over the S1 in detail. And the next one, and the second one, I sense a great insecurity, that answers a bunch of questions about the S1. So just FYI, I'm trying to put a format together with what these videos are like. So if you look, the first part of the video has, or the first part of the description of the video has a timeline of, where I talk about certain things and what I talk about. So you can actually quickly skip to that, that particular moment in time if you'd like. And the second part of the description actually includes links as to various tweets and various other information that I have access to make this video. So you can verify and double check with these, with the original sources yourself. So this is the information as to the last two videos about the NextBridge S1 filings, and this is why I think you should check out those videos first if you have not seen them yet. They will answer most of the questions that you may have about it. They go over a recap. Each one is about a half hour long, but you can skip to whichever section you find interesting, right? So, so one of the things that people are asking about is, hey, do you still think the divvy's, still happening? So my response has been, hey, nothing's really changed except the average price of oil over the last year is still increasing. It's almost $90 a barrel now. The SEC has had some more time to go over the S1 filing. They're not done yet with that. But, time's running out for them to give a response. And then, Metamaterials is now in an even better bargaining position. I mean, it's got Metamaterials. The price of Metamaterials itself is, it's even lower now. So if you think that Metamaterials was a good buy at a higher price, it's an even better buy now. And during all that time, management has been working hard to actually make things better, to improve the situation as much as possible. Okay, so I don't see the situation having gotten worse. I see the situation having gotten better. What do I mean by the price of oil is still increasing? Well, if we look at this is the West Texas Intermediate crude oil. This is what the price of oil is that is pumped out of the ground in Texas typically. And it's about $97 a barrel at the time of this video, But the blue line is the 1 year average price of oil during that point in time. And as you can see, it's been increasing steadily over time. And it's currently, the 1 year average price is about $89 and 39.7 cents, basically, right? So it's almost $90 a barrel. And what we're going to see is that the earlier points in time are gonna, are gonna be removed because is a 1 year average, right? So the earlier points in time are going to be removed, and newer points are going to be added. And when those newer points are added, they're going to be at a much higher price than the price was a year ago. So the price is going up. So I think it should head towards $90 in about 10 days or so. So by about 10 days, you can expect WTI average price to be around $90 a barrel or so. Okay. There was a really good tweet by Red the Pirate a few days ago on July 19th that I think bears repeating. He said, people continue to question why Torchlight Originals did not cover and what would make them cover this time if they didn't last time. Okay. So let's look back at the time frame of 2021. On May the 13th of 2021, Torchlight was $3.64. On June the 21st, it was $21.76. Okay, shorts covered during that time frame. So you're asking, okay, I thought there were still shorts that needed to cover. Yes, that is true because George Palacaris moved up the date of the merger thereby trapping them in their positions. And he did the reverse split on the 28th. Okay. And the last tweet is, so we have millions of shorts trapped from June 22nd and onward. Okay. Those shorts have had to cover once the S1 is approved. I'm sorry. Those shorts have to cover once the S1 is approved. So the shorts did cover before, but others remain trapped. Most likely they will cover now or risk liquidation from their brokers since it's going private. Okay. This is a stock price of metamaterials. And as we know, if we look back in time, prior to this, the merger and split, this is the price of Torchlight. Okay. Because it was a reverse merger to Torchlight. So the split happened on July 22nd. We see a little symbol S for the split on the chart, and if we zoom in on that point in time, we see that on the 21st, price was around. We see that originally, around the time of the 13th, around May 13th, the price of Torchlight was around $3.64 or so, right? By the time of the 21st, it was around $21.76, okay? And it gapped up at that point in time. Gapped up majorly, right? And the split happened, a little bit early, right? It was supposed to happen on the 28th, but it actually happened earlier. It happened on the 22nd. It happened on the 22nd, it looks like. So, as a result of the split happening earlier, the split happened just a little bit early. As a result of the split happening earlier, we have trapped shorts, right? The merger happened earlier than projected. The shorts thought that they had a few more days. Well, it turned out they didn't. The shares were distributed earlier, okay? So June 22nd onward, the shorts were basically trapped, okay? And once the S1 is approved, they're going to try to cover. But now they'll be covering at a much different price, right? So there you go. Anyway, so this is a calendar event right now. We see that the NextBridge Hydrocarbons S1 was filed on the 15th. I made 2 videos since then, but what we're waiting for really is the next steps, right? The next steps is that the SEC needs to approve the S1. Okay, so they've had time to read the S1. They're going through the process of reading it. And then Metamaterials, MMAT, will announce a dividend of NextBridge Hydrocarbons, right? And that dividend will go to the MMTLP preferred shareholders. So at that point in time, the shorts will have a timeline in which to close their positions. And, when shorts close, they have to buy to close, okay? So as a result of that, there's a possible run-up in price for MMTLP. And that's a big deal. Okay, MMTLP could go up in price significantly. After that, we expect the NextBridge to actually spin out the actual dividend. Typically, that takes place 15 days after the announcement, and then we'll find out what NextBridge plans to do. But because the announcement of the dividend has not been done yet, everyone's really waiting on what the timeline's going to be. That seems to be the main thing that people are thinking about. I got this comment earlier today from Bradley Tate. He asked about a video about the MMTLP potential squeeze. That is the section in blue, in magenta that I've talked about in the timeline, and that's a potential MMTLP squeeze. So he said, "Hey, can you tell us what what you think might happen during that time? Is a squeeze related? How's a squeeze related to the S1 or their trapped Torchlight shareholders? Yes, there are. Is it going to have an effect on AMC and GME? How about a squeeze there? What's going on?" So I mentioned that there's a theory that all the hedge funds who have shorted GameStop and AMC have also shorted other companies as well too. It's just GameStop is just the most outrageously shorted of all. But other companies that have been shorted include Metamaterials and Torchlight, okay? And in the case, so they're going to try to clear out those smaller short positions first, right? Because it hasn't been shorted into oblivion like GameStop has been. So they'll probably try to clear out MMAT first, but MMTLP is it's a totally different animal in this sense, right? It's based upon oil, the price of oil, the sale of oil assets, the possible whatever they plan to do with the oil assets, right? It's a big deal. So anyway, that's going to come up. That's an upcoming video. I have not made that video yet. It's not this video. It'll be in the future. Probably the next one. So yeah. So anyway, I'll be talking about that. So the other thing is, after the dividend, right? If there are any shorts left, they will be, they'll be frozen. They'll be trapped at that point in time. And it could get really bad for them because there's a couple of things that can happen, right? At that point, NextBridge, which is an independent company, they can announce their plans. And their plans could be an asset sale, which means another dividend that's given to NextBridge shareholders. The other thing they could do is they could work with a major oil producer, to have the major oil producer develop the land, drill it out, pump out the oil, and sell it, and get a cut of the profits, right? Which is a continual running dividend. That would be horrible for shorts. That would be great for you and me because the price of oil is it's insanely high, right? It's quite good. That means we would be getting not the average price of $90. We'd be getting an average. We'd be getting the spot instantaneous price of $100 plus. And it's not just oil that's in the ground. You'd be getting the full amount instead of if you buy oil in the ground, you're basically paying 12 cents on the dollar. But if you sell oil that's been pumped out, you get 100 cents on the dollar. And in this case, it would be split among whoever the major oil producer is who's pumping out the oil. That would be a pretty cool video too, I think. Anyway, so there's a lot potentially on the upside here. So if we look at the price of MMTLP, we see it's about $1.37. This is what the price has been throughout the life of trading of MMTLP. It started trading around October 7th or so, and it's been relatively stable in price, to be honest. And but if we look just in the last month or so, we can zoom in a little bit in the price range there. We see that it did drop significantly on the 18th. And that is, that I'm saying is a short attack, right? That's a FUD, based upon FUD and whatnot. Why am I saying it's a short attack? Well, because if you look at it, the S1 was filed on July 15th in the morning, 6:04 a.m. That means that there was a full trading day, right? When everyone had all the information, and yet the price didn't collapse at that day. The price went sideways, right? So I'm saying that the price drop that happened the following Monday was a result of the short attack. The following Monday was the 18th, right? And that's when the price dropped significantly on high volume, by the way. And how is this possible? Well, if we look at iBorrowDesk, right, they'll tell you what the cost to borrow is. The red is the cost to borrow, and the blue bars are the shares available to borrow. And if we look, we see a couple things. First off, the cost to borrow is 19.6%. People are paying 19%, almost 20% in order to borrow shares of MMTLP. That's insane. The cost to borrow is pretty high, right? But they're doing it, and they're paying these larger amounts. They were paying upwards of 60% when it first traded, right? And the volumes were much, much lower at that time. Something basically happened in towards the at the start of 2022 and the end of 2021, where the number of shares available to borrow increased dramatically. And I don't know what that is. It increased significantly. It was a lot less than 1 million shares, like a few 100,000 shares available to borrow, just, when it first became available. And then it's now in the range of, 3 million shares available. Where are these shares coming from? It's hard to say. I suspect that there are more synthetic shares out there right now, and that somehow these synthetic shares became available to borrow, and perhaps sometime around January timeframe, it could be that somebody bought a bunch of call options to get access to MMTLP shares. I'm not sure where these extra shares are coming from, but they came about mainly end of December, right? And the extra shares to borrow, and they've increased since then, right? 3 million shares available to borrow. I'm certainly not making my shares available to borrow. Somebody's making them available to borrow. Not sure. Let's look at the price of MMAT on iBorrowDesk. That's even crazier, right? If we look, the cost to borrow, increased at one point over 150%, as the shares were impossible to find to borrow, and that's why the shares price increased significantly. In the last month or so, in July, we find that a bunch of shares suddenly became available, okay, and the cost to borrow dropped from around almost 100% down significantly, now down to 18.8%, okay. So the price of MMAT is down, and I suspect it's because of all these synthetic shares that are now available, that are being available for people to borrow and short the crap out of it. Oh, excuse the French. So current status is the S1 has not yet been accepted by the SEC. So the final dates of NextBridge and MMTLP have not been finalized. So if you're short, your time is running out. And you know that you might be trapped again because George Palocaris trapped you in 2021. So you don't want to be trapped again, right? But now it's even worse. And it's worse because oil prices are high, and they could go higher than 2021, okay? And that means that the dividend that would have to be paid would be worth $75 a share or above. Who knows, right? And that's on a stock that you may have shorted for just a few dollars a share. You're now paying out $75 plus a share in dividends. That's a nightmare, right? That would be terrible if you're short. So your only course of action if you're short is, attack and drive down the price of MMTLP. Buy whatever you can to close your position, but, you spread the FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, and, that's what you got to do if you're short. Anytime a long sells to you, that's a win, even if it's at a higher price, right? Anytime you get a sale from a long, you are happy because it's less liability. Meanwhile, just FYI, I wanted to point out a few channels to check out. Of course, check out Roller Pigeon's channel on YouTube. And Uncle Smokey's got a real good take on what to do with the MMTLP and AST shares. Naturally, Terry Yonkers has been at this every single day. He provides a really good update on MMTLP and MMAT, and he tells you what's going on. Lately, we've also been seeing updates from Trading Secrets, and he's done a good job. So shout out to Trading Secrets. And welcome back, and hello to Right Brain Trader. Haven't seen Right Brain Trader in a while, but he's back now. So great, big shout out to him. I occasionally don't make videos that often, but I will be on Twitter. So here's where I am on Twitter. It's Tony's Twits. And I'll occasionally be making tweets about various things, and including metamaterials, of course, and metamaterials Torchlight Preferred Shares. So that's it, and it's July 27th. Not too much has changed, but the situation is getting better actually every single day. So do not worry, and I'll be making another video about what might happen about the possible price run up. And let me end by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Goodbye.